How did two lovely, hardworking people end up divorced? You'd think that when you look at a relationship and you see two people who are really focused on hard work, really diligent, that should be a very compatible aspect in their marriage. But one of the things is that the underlying reason for that hard work can be different, and that is about values. And so you can see a behavior that is similar and seems complementary, but when the underlying value is different, then in the end it can mean that that seemingly compatible trait is not actually very compatible. Recently I've been talking a lot about values in my YouTube shorts based on a book called The Tactical Guide to Women. And it discusses how there are various values that have been identified by psychologists over the decades as one way, or there's a few different ways, of categorizing people's values and using that as a way to determine who would be a good partner for you. And one of the guys that I worked with got a divorce recently. And in the beginning of his marriage and in his relationship, it seemed that they were very, very much aligned. They were both working really hard. She was working on her career and he was working on his business. And they were working long hours and they enjoyed the time they could be together. They enjoyed sharing their struggles. They enjoyed sharing their hardships. But then something really interesting happened when he started to have a lot more success in his business. Now she, of course, with her career, had a continuous trajectory as a very good employee, and she continued to move up the corporate ladder, which means, more money, more responsibility, et cetera, exactly what people want. And in his case, as his business grew and he started to get more and more revenue generating, instead of deciding to really just leverage what he already had to increase the business even more and scale it, he realized that for him, what he wanted was to be able to take a step back from all the hard work and to focus more on leisure activities and on spending time with his wife and starting a family. And so here you can see how, despite the fact that in the beginning stages of their relationship, they were very compatible, the underlying values that were the root of that behaviors, or of those behaviors, were incompatible. And it was only later on, after being together for some years, that this became apparent. Now, theoretically, this could be something that people can discuss in advance. Why are you working so hard? What are the reasons? What is the goal? Where do you want to be in 5 years? However, it's also important to understand that people often get these things wrong about themselves. People often think they want one thing and find out that they wanted another. When I was in my early 20s and just starting my working life, I thought that being a millionaire was really important and that I wanted to work 60 hours, 80-hour weeks to get there, only to realize when I was about 25 or 26 that actually, I didn't really care that much about money. And what was more important for me was doing something that I liked and having a lot of free time. And so people can make these mistakes. And so this is how good people can end up in marriages that just aren't working. Now, a lot of the problem, however, is that people often don't even think about this stuff in the beginning. So yes, people can be unaware and they can be caught blindsided. That happens for sure. But many people look at the behaviors and they assume that they understand what the root of those behaviors are, and not think, okay, well, this is working now, but why are they engaging in this behavior? What do they want? What do they get out of it? And using that and trying to discover the other person at a deeper level. So In this particular case, they ultimately decided that what they wanted was absolutely not compatible, because in some situations you could find some kind of compromise. Maybe one person decides, okay, well, career is important, but it's not so important that I'm not willing to slow down my career advancement somewhat, or sacrifice. Maybe I won't be able to be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and instead I can be the CEO of a small company, for example. Some people might be willing to make that transition and sacrifice for other things like family, for example. But another person might be totally unwilling to do that. And so the difficulties about this is that when people discover these kinds of differences, it can be a long and painful road to recognize that what you've been building with this person over many, many years is really not working. But the sooner you can recognize that there is really a difference in values that is the root of the problem, the easier it is to start to untangle things. Because what often happens is people think, oh, there's something wrong with me, and I should be really happy and excited for my partner whose career is very successful, or I should be excited about this other opportunity of being able to retire early and do whatever I want. And, why aren't I excited about that? Because that's also good. And so when you run into these issues, people start to question themselves a lot. And that makes it it's a very painful experience for many. And I just wanted to highlight this because of the experience of one of my clients and him ending his marriage and ultimately deciding to move on, even though his significant other was very committed to the relationship and wanted to keep it going. He realized that she wouldn't be willing to make the compromises that would satisfy him, and that the sooner he moved on, the sooner he would be able to find a relationship partner that really did meet and match what he was looking for. To help other people find this channel and to help us grow, and to make sure you don't miss the next one, like and subscribe down below, and we'll see you next time.